Hey guys, REDyTay here with another Pokemon challenge. Trying to beat Pokemon Sapphire with just a Carvanha was a real struggle due to our weak defense and how long it took for us to get a good water move. This challenge will also be interesting due to our poor defense again, but this time around we're using a much blander type combination. Today we're seeing how we fare in beating Pokemon FireRed with just a Doduo. So, since I brought it up, we might as well start this challenge by talking about Doduo's typing. It's normal and flying, and as you can tell from the screen, there's not a whole lot going on. Having 2 immunities is nice though, but other than that, we're neutral to a lot of types, and we resist bug and grass, which I feel is neither here nor there. And even though we only have 3 weaknesses, I feel like they're dangerous ones to have. Yes, we're probably going to have a rough start here since Brock is up first in the badge run, and oh look, another video where Lorelei makes things difficult. Moving on from that, we're following a similar stat distribution to what we had with Carvanha. We have good physical attack and speed, and our defense is a little better here, but not by much. To add insult to injury, when it comes to defense, we again are not supporting good health. So what do we have to attack with, since we're back to needing to deal damage quickly if we want to win battles? Honestly, not much, considering this looks a lot like Doduo's Generation 1 moveset. There are some improvements, and Tri-Attack is interesting this time around since we get to play Russian Roulette with our opponent when it comes to status conditions. But outside of that, there's not much else you could call exciting. Uproar looks like such a random addition to this list, and this TM list might be one of the shortest ones we've seen in challenges. It doesn't add much in terms of type variety, and I think the only ones we'll end up using are Steel Wing and Aerial Ace, since it doesn't miss. Also, I know it's old news, but I still think it's funny that Doduo can learn Fly. Yes, I know it's a flying type, but it's supposed to be a flightless bird. Anyway, the challenge. We've got to get on that. But first we need to discuss the rules. I'll only be using Doduo throughout the entire challenge, but I can still use other Pokemon for AHMs to progress. No cheats, glitches, or hacks to advance, and I'll be sticking to the trend where I won't be using any items in battle, only held items given to Doduo before the battle starts. I don't really know what to expect for this challenge. It might only be doable once we get a good level lead going, which won't take long since this beginning is going to be rough. Let's get going and try to make some progress on that. Which of course means we're starting off being taken to Professor Oak's lab to get our Doduo. I used the Pokemon randomizer to replace Bulbasaur with Doduo since I couldn't really think of which starter would be our biggest threat in this challenge. I guess the best option would be to make Charmander our rival starter so we both have a flying type later on in the game. It's not the best pick though. Also, this is the second challenge now where I had to repeat the randomizer setup since when I first got Doduo, it was somehow a pure fighting type. Again, that might be an interesting challenge, but it's not true to the original game, so I reset the process. On the second attempt, we had a part normal, part flying Doduo. I decided to nickname our Doduo Clarence, because this challenge is going to be tough, but we need to stay strong for Mother. Starting out in the challenge, we are leading with our attack stat, with defensive speed tied for second, and our special stats barely trailing behind. I'm sure the special stats are going to trail even more as we progress, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I'm also liking that our ability is Early Bird, considering that's what I wanted us to get. This ability makes it so we are not asleep as long as we normally would be, and this should be extremely useful. Of course, it wouldn't be needed for the first rival battle of the game. Like most first rival battles, there's not much to comment on. We only have one attacking move here at the start, so we just spam Peck the whole time. To make things easier for us, Charmander doesn't even attack right away, so by the time we take him out, we're still easily in green health. All that being said, it would be smart if we grind up some more levels for the second rival battle. But instead of battling a bunch of wild Pokemon on the route where we have the rival battle, we start battling the bug catchers in Viridian Forest, which is obviously the better choice since they all use weak first form bug types, and since we have Peck, we absolutely destroy them. Yes, we get poisoned, and that is a little scary since Doduo is the only Pokemon we have and I don't want to white out, but we are successful in getting healed up before that happens, and before we know it, we are ready for the second rival battle. Pidgey might be one level ahead of us, but our Peck is clearly stronger than its tackle. That and us getting critical hit helps as well. Charmander is next up, and I almost went with using Pursuit, which we just got from this level up. but instead we're sticking with Peck and it's still hitting pretty well. Charmander's Scratch is hitting sooner than it did in the other battle, but our damage output is so much better, so we still easily get the win. Now the beginning of this challenge has been going smoothly, right? Hasn't really seemed like much of a challenge. Well, most of you know where I'm going with this. Brock is going to kill our two-headed bird with most likely one stone. Pokemon. I know this would most likely be under-leveled, but I did give this battle a go at level 12. I mean, it is the same level as Geodude, which is not a good place to be, honestly. The silver lining here is that we have Pursuit. It's not the strongest dark move, and it's not Stab, but in this generation dark moves are special, and Brock's team does not have the best special defense. Unfortunately, as you can tell by the footage, they're still taking Pursuit better than I hoped. A nice takeaway though is that we are taking these tackles better than I thought we would. Things are looking a little up with Pursuit landing as a critical hit taking Geodude out, but of course that just means the Onix can take us out quicker with one Rock Tomb. We would be in danger even if we were closer to full health, so of course we're going to have to take this as a sign that we need to grind some more. So I grinded until Clarence got to level 16 and gave this battle another shot. We're seeing some improvement here since we take down Geodude quickly and still have a lot of health when it's all said and done. Pursuit almost takes Onix to half health and Rock Tomb is still scary, but we're in the yellow when it hits instead of being in the red. The problem is Rock Tomb always lowers our speed, and even with just one speed drop, we become slower than Onix. So it immediately attacks again, and sure, we might survive another Rock Tomb, but Pursuit isn't strong enough to knock Onix out, so we easily go down on the next turn. I did give this battle a couple more tries at this level, but it's still pretty clear that grinding is still needed if we want to get the first badge. I really want to beat Brock under level 20, so you best believe I gave this battle a go at level 18. I know this might not be much of an improvement when it comes to stats, but still, we give it an attempt. Just like at level 16, Pursuit is doing great work against Geodude. It helps though that Geodude just spams Defense Curl to raise his defense, while we're attacking with a special move. So Geodude is down and we're still at full health. Onix is handling Pursuit well, but still, it's the best attack we got. We're still in the green after its first Rock Tomb, but the speed drop is still a thing, and we are now slower than Onix. I thought Doduo was supposed to be fast. How are we already slower than a giant rock snake? Anyway, we have a bigger mystery now since Onix used Tackle on his next turn. Interesting choice there. Pursuit takes it into the yellow and Onix sticks with Tackle, which brings us into the yellow too. Then Onix changes things up by using Bind? What is going on? These moves are hardly dealing damage and Rock Tomb is right there to destroy us. Whatever, because we're still sticking with our best move, and from here, one more Pursuit finally brings Onix down, and we get our first badge of the game, even if it's because Brock kinda threw the fight. But no, I'm not going to have a rematch here to see if we could beat Onix if it used Rock Tomb more. Besides, we still have more rock types to deal with in the very near future thanks to Mount Moon. That being said, we spent a substantial amount of time grinding to beat Brock, and these hikers do have weaker rock and ground types than we've just faced. So these battles are not much of a challenge. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot to mention that we learned to try attack while we were moving through Mount Moon. This is an interesting move in my opinion. I never really had a lot of instances using this move when I was younger, so I was surprised when I saw that it had 80 power here. That's pretty strong for this point in the game. The gimmick of this move though is what I really like about it. We have a chance of either burning, paralyzing, or freezing our opponent every time we use this attack. Now most of you know that I don't like using moves that deal with a dice roll and going against the odds, but considering this move just uses random chance to deliver a random status condition, I can make an exception. We get through Mount Moon easily enough and arrive in Cerulean City soon after. I feel like historically in these challenges I head straight to Nugget Bridge to battle our rival as soon as I heal up at the Poké Center, but this time I'm confident that we could beat Misty right now at this current level. So I was wrong. We lost, but it was close. Staryu is not a problem because of Tri-Attack, but Starmie is another story due to it being faster than us, while we are 3 levels higher and have feet. I honestly did not see that coming. Anyway, it attacks with Water Pulse, which takes us to half health, and that ultimately is what sealed this battle for us. We do more damage with Tri-Attack, but since Starmie is faster than us, it attacks first, and we can't withstand another Water Pulse. So down we go. Well, we could give this battle a couple more tries, but instead I decided to just go ahead and cut to the chase. We're going to battle a rival, Nugget Bridge, and then the other battlers north of Cerulean City. The experience we get from these battles should be more than enough to give us the extra edge to beat Misty. So let's talk about the rival battle. Pidgeotto is first up, so it's a normal flying type face-off. But Pidgeotto doesn't have a move like Tri-Attack, and since we are faster, we get past this exchange with an easy one-shot. REDyTay is next, and this thing is so weak that it goes down in one shot, this time to Peck. Charmander follows, but it also can't handle Tri-Attack, so it goes down quickly too. So all our rival has left is Abra. Pursuit isn't stab, or again really strong, but it is super effective against Abra. That being said, it's not a one-shot. Abra does have terrible defense, so Tri-Attack would have been a better option here too. But even though Abra survives another turn, it only knows Teleport, so we can very safely say we won this battle and took 0 damage in the process. Now let's fight the other trainers in this area and then give Misty another visit. We are now at level 28 after all of that battling. Its Staryu is still not worth talking about since we were able to one-shot it the last time we saw it, and it shares the same fate here. Starmie is still somehow faster than us even though we are 7 levels higher than it, and it still doesn't have feet. The positive thing now is we can handle Water Pulse much better than last time. Tri-Attack also hits much harder. It's a little frustrating it wasn't a one-shot, but we are still in this fight. Yes, the Super Potion use at this point is annoying, but Peck is still putting in the work as it brings Starmie to almost half health. But again, the plus in this battle is our improved defense. Now don't get me wrong, being at red health after a second Water Pulse is not great, but we still got a chance to attack, and Tri-Attack is strong enough to get the better Starmie. So it might be close, but this is still a win. So Misty might have been a slight hiccup, but getting past the Cerulean portion of this challenge felt like it moved pretty quickly. I'm trying to keep that pace as we make our way to Vermilion and the SS Anne. Yes, we're still battling the trainers here on the SS Anne, even with the level lead we're now sporting. I don't want to miss the opportunity the game's giving us to gain some extra experience. These are really quick battles and honestly not worth talking about really, especially since we have a rival battle right around the corner. Pidgeotto goes down after a 3-turn Fury attack, and looking back, I don't know why I decided to use that move here. Raticate is a one-shot with Peck, and I'm still surprised we were able to one-shot this guy with Peck. Anyway, moving on to Kadabra, I'm still relying on Pursuit in this exchange. It's still not a one-shot, and again, looking back, I should have just used Tri-Attack. But since it's already at low health, we use another Pursuit to knock it out. Which means we just have to deal with Charmeleon now. Tri-Attack is still a great move considering it once again one-shots our rival's starter. So yeah, that's another no damage sweep against our rival guys. How long can we keep that up? I don't really know, and I have more concerning issues to deal with at the moment thanks to Lieutenant Surge and his electric Pokemon. I don't think this is going to be as bad as the battles we had against Brock, but if we get paralyzed then we're in big trouble. That would essentially give Surge's Pokemon an extra turn to deal damage since they will be able to outspeed us. A trend is developing in this challenge. Clarence can't take a lot of hits in battle. This gym battle in particular relies on us needing to one-shot if we want to get the win. Lieutenant Surge starts off the battle with Voltorb. Now, I just said we need to hit hard for one-shots if we want to win this battle easily, but for whatever reason I decided to attack with Fury Attack. I mean, it paid off since the first hit was a critical hit that was almost a one-shot, meaning the second hit was a shoo-in for a knockout. But that was not the smartest move, especially since Tri-Attack is on our moveset. We do use Tri-Attack against Lieutenant Surge's next Pokemon, Pikachu. But that was more due to the fact if we used a physical contact move like Peck or Fury Attack, we ran the risk of getting paralyzed due to Pikachu's ability. I wasn't going to take that chance, and besides, I knew Pikachu couldn't handle Tri-Attack anyway. Actually, I bet Raichu can't handle that move either. Oh look, I was right. Okay, so maybe I was overreacting earlier when I said Surge could absolutely destroy us, and that this part of the challenge is probably going to take several attempts. Because look, that was another no damage sweep. Now to be fair, we are sporting a pretty solid level lead, and we were also fortunate in not getting paralyzed in our one attempt of this battle. If we were closer to the level of Lieutenant Surge's Pokemon and had gotten paralyzed, then I'm pretty sure that battle would have had a much different ending. I think this battle, along with the previous rival battle, illustrates the point I was kind of mentioning earlier. Clarence needs to hit hard physically and fast if we want to succeed in this challenge, and this strategy does rely on us keeping a sizable level lead as we progress. Our defense stats haven't given us an opportunity to battle any other way, since after several hits, we're already at low health and in a tight spot. And this trend is continuing as we progress through Rock Tunnel. We don't lose any of the battles here, but that's only because I was smart enough to use an escape rope several times while we were in there. We did have a couple of moments where we fell to low health, but honestly the main reason for these emergency evacuations to the Poké Center was that we ran low on power points for Tri-Attack, and that is a move we need if we want to get past the hikers here. None of the other moves we have can quickly take care of these rock Pokemon, and as most of you know, we need to knock these guys out quickly or risk them being in a self-destructive mood. This challenge adds an extra level of urgency because again, flying types really struggle when it comes to rock attacks. I tried to save my other attacks for the non-rock types, but that plan only got us so far. We came across several instances where we were basically forced to use our best move if we wanted to move on. Needless to say, all these interruptions to escape and heal up at the Poké Center really drew this part of the challenge out, since we would have to start this track all over again. I kept getting lost because I don't bother using Flash, and I was constantly forgetting what direction we needed to go since we went through the same path over and over. I also kind of blame all the wild Pokemon encounters for that too. Anyway, getting out of Rock Tunnel took way longer than it normally does, but as soon as we do, we head to Lavender Town to heal up and battle our rival as soon as we can. Still sticking with Fury Attack with Pidgeotto, and it missed. I deserve that. I need to stop using that move. Especially since we picked up Drill Peck while we were in Rock Tunnel, and it easily one-shots Pidgeotto. Gyarados follows, and I completely forgot that Intimidate is horrible for this challenge. Drill Peck is hindered, but still dealing solid damage. We handle Thrash well, and another Drill Peck knocks out Gyarados. We might have our attack stat down to stage for the remainder of the battle, but Execute is really weak to flying moves, so Drill Peck is back to being a one-shot here. Kadabra follows, and we are finally using our common sense by using Tri-Attack. Yay, another one-shot. I didn't think we'd get the same outcome when it came to Charmeleon, but let's go. Critical hit one shot, and I'll take it. Okay, Pidgeotto might have ruined our no damage sweep streak, but that was still an easy win even with Intimidate hanging over our head. With how hard we've been hitting and the next gym being grass type, is this battle even going to be worth talking about? No, this battle is not really worth talking about. I can summarize it in 2 words. Drill Peck. If you want more detail, it was one-shots all the way. Trust me, there's nothing else to say about this battle with Erica. Let's deal with Team Rocket at the game corner. We're handling the Team Rocket grunts really well here, but I'm a little worried when it comes to Giovanni's team. Then again, he doesn't really have good AI, so I think we can still win this battle at our current level. Current level is 42, and Giovanni's first Pokemon is an Onix at level 25. Obviously, we use Tri-Attack here. I wish it did more damage, but that's our best option, so we're sticking with it, despite the fact that we just saw Onix use Harden. The silver lining is that the second Tri-Attack paralyzed Onix. I think that might be the first time I've seen a status condition come from that move so far in this challenge. Took it long enough. Onix does get to attack on next turn, and Rock Throw did scare me, but the fact that we only fell to about half health makes me think we're going to be okay. We switch to Pursuit to finish off Giovanni's Onix. Rhyhorn is next, and we're getting better results with Tri-Attack in this exchange. We take a little extra damage from Stomp, and then knock Rhyhorn out with a second Tri-Attack. So all Giovanni has left is Kangaskhan, which is the least threatening part of this battle. Drill Peck takes it down to low yellow health, we survive a bite in the yellow ourselves, and then another Drill Peck gives us our first win against Giovanni. With that done, we just grabbed the HM for Fly before heading back to the Pokemon Tower. That being said, we aren't using Flies since we still have Pursuit, and it does a great job taking care of the ghosts here. Team Rocket isn't really putting up much of a threat, so we're moving on pretty easily. Besides, as we head south to Fuchsia, I feel like the game is really opening up. Outside of the usual stuff we do in every challenge, like catching the Snorlax and immediately teaching it Surf and Strength as soon as we get those HMs in Fuchsia, we complete a few other tasks that I think will be essential for making serious progress in this challenge. The Safari Zone is essential for us to catch enough Pokemon to get the item finder from one of Professor Oak's aides, which means we can go back to where we caught Snorlax and get leftovers. Now, I usually get leftovers, so this really isn't anything special, it's just hard to say no to free healing each turn. However, this challenge won't benefit from this item as much since we don't have a lot of HP to begin with, so we won't be getting any major heals on those turns. The last bit of housekeeping we do is picking up the TM for Steel Wing while we are in the Safari Zone. It's not much, but it's nice to have a little more type variety, and having the chance to raise our defense is always a plus. After completing all of our errands, we have our battle with Koga. I feel like on top of everything we just did and our solid level lead, we've really come into our own as a physical hitter, and truth be told, we're a bit of a force to be reckoned with. Drill Peck and Tri-Attack are hitting really hard thanks to our great attack stat and the fact that they're both stab. Yes, Drill Peck one-shots Coughing, but Muck goes down in 2 turns. It stinks that Tri-Attack missed due to minimize, but we take Muck out in the next turn. Koga's second Coughing annoyingly survives Drill Peck, which drags the battle out thanks to Koga using Hyper Potions for multiple turns while we keep trying to one-shot it. Eventually he stops and we take out Coughing with Steel Wing. At least we exhausted all of Koga's healing items. Now we just have to face Wheezing, and I play safe by using Fly in hopes of dodging a self-destruct. It doesn't happen, but we stick with that move, and 2 hits takes Wheezing into red health. Getting hit with Toxic is not ideal, but since Wheezing is in a really bad spot and Koga has no healing items left, we are still able to win the fight with 1 more Drill Peck. Nice solid win, and we need to keep this momentum going. I feel like we can go on a major tear here and make a lot of progress during the Saffron portion of the game. Okay, I was actually very wrong. We're finally having issues with our rival, and it actually comes down to Charizard. I guess I picked the right starter for a rival to have after all. So earlier I was talking about how we're excelling as a physical attacker, but it turns out the exact opposite is our weak link. Our special defense is a major liability, and we honestly can't take a hit from a special attack. This becomes apparent when we get hit by Charizard's Flamethrower. Outside of that, there are a couple of other things that are messing up our chances of winning in this battle. Gyarados' Intimidate is extremely detrimental in this challenge since all of our moves are physical, and Charizard likes to use Scary Face to lower our speed. All this together means we can't keep up in damage output, so yeah, we're going down. I give this battle a few more attempts, but we keep losing, and ultimately our special defense is to blame. Well, I had skipped almost all of the Team Rocket Grunts and Scientists in Silph Co to get to this point. So I'll go back and battle all of them, and maybe after that, we will have reached a high enough level to win this battle. Okay, we are revisiting this battle now at level 54. Sorry I didn't do the level 50 update like I usually do in these challenges. Anyway, Tri-Attack one-shots Pidgeot, which is a great start. But that's basically all we're going to see from our offense thanks to Gyarados being sent out. Intimidate is now in effect, but Tri-Attack is still putting in the work. Much better than Gyarados' Bite. Another Tri-Attack and Gyarados goes down. Charizard is now out, but we are stronger. Case in point, Tri-Attack brings Charizard to half health. That never happened in the previous battles. Scary Face isn't good, especially since it means Charizard can follow up immediately with Flamethrower. But look, we survive it in the yellow, we're still in the fight, and Charizard goes down from another Tri-Attack. We still need to be smart here, since leftovers won't heal us up a whole bunch. But Execute is next, so Drill Peck should one-shot even with Intimidate still affecting us. That just leaves Alakazam, which is also easy to take care of because of its low defense. It sets up a future sight, and then we use Drill Peck to easily wrap up the battle. Okay, the grinding really paid off, and since we now have Steel Wing, I think Giovanni won't be that much of an issue. And I was right for the most part. Tri-Attack one-shots Nidorino, Steel Wing was a critical hit one-shot for Rhyhorn, and Drill Peck almost one-shots Kangaskhan. But since it just gets into a rage, we take it out quickly from there. Nidoqueen also survives our first attack, delivers a weak Poison Sting, and then goes down from Drill Peck. It's a nice quick battle, and hope we can do the same when it comes to Sabrina. Oh yeah, Drill Peck carries big time here. There really isn't anything else to report here. This had to be the shortest gym battle we've had in the challenge. Well, time to see how we do against Blaine. I'm hoping we can keep this hard-hitting offense going. Well, this is embarrassing, but this challenge is actually going to be one where Blaine is a problem. I can't believe I have to admit that. What it ultimately boils down to is that pretty much everything that gave us issues in that last rival battle is doubled when it comes to Blaine. There's 2 rounds of Intimidate thanks to Growlithe and Arcanine, and that really hinders our offense. And the only move we're seeing here is Fire Blast. Sure, it might miss, but it's dangerous thanks to our abysmal special defense. We are very much a glass cannon in this run. I gave this a couple of attempts, but the message is received loud and clear. We are just not going to win with these stats. So I backtracked and actually battled all the trainers in the gym, but that wasn't going to be enough. By this point, I did come up with an idea. We have like 3 TM10s in our backpack thanks to our Meowth's pickup ability. It might be a long shot, but cleaners could possibly have a super effective typing and hidden power. For those of you who are not familiar with the move Hidden Power, it's an attack that has a random type based off of the user. The typing is based off a completely random hidden stat that you can't check in the game, and is not based on the species of the Pokemon. So if we restarted the challenge, that new Doduo would most likely have a completely different hidden power type than Clarence does. It took some time, but I ultimately decided to give up Drill Peck. Yeah, we've been using it a lot and it does hit hard, but we still have Fly for a flying move, and Tri Attack hits as hard as Drill Peck and has the added chance of giving a status condition. Anyway, with Hidden Power now at our disposal, we need to battle wild Pokemon to narrow down what type our Hidden Power is. Since we are on Cinnabar Island, I go to the Pokemon Mansion to test it, and this might not be the best place to do this, but considering the first Pokemon is coughing, and we get the warning that its Levitate ability makes it immune to ground moves after we use Hidden Power, I say this is probably the fastest I've ever figured out what Hidden Power type my Pokemon has. So our Hidden Power is Ground, and that typing is effective against Fire. This should be enough, right? Well, not so fast. Ground moves are physical in Generation 3, so Intimidate still weakens it. This move is not Stab, and Hidden Power's base power is weaker than the Drill Peck we gave up for it. On paper, this doesn't look good, and in real life, or video game life, it goes about how we expected it to. We still lost even with Hidden Power, and I was smart and saved right before we taught Clarence Hidden Power, so we go back to a save, and now we no longer have Hidden Power on our moveset, and we gotta give this some more thought. I don't really want to grind, and luckily I thought of a slight revision to our previous strategy. We are going to replace Drill Peck with a TM move. This time we are going with Return. For those of you who don't know this move, this is a normal attack that gets more powerful the higher the friendship value the Pokemon has with you. Clearance has to be at max level of that value by this point due to me often restarting from saves when we lost the battle. This has to be enough firepower, unintended, for the win. Tri Attack still one-shots Growlithe, so we stick with that move. Actually, it's the same story for Ponyta as well. Return makes its debut when Rapidash comes out, and it is a one-shot. Real strong start, let's keep it going. We just have Arcanine left, which means yes, our attack is now 2 stages lower, but Return is still doing great all things considered. We got it into the yellow at least. Even better is that we survived Arcanine's Fire Blast while we were still standing in the yellow, so we are now in the perfect spot where Blaine doesn't heal Arcanine up, and we can attack one more time with Return to finally get the Volcano badge. Let's not dwell on this hiccup too long, we just need one more badge for this challenge, let's focus on that. Steel Wing almost one-shots Rhyhorn, and I wish the Scary Face didn't happen, but that's not as annoying as the Hyper Potion Giovanni uses soon after. Back to square one, but this time Giovanni doesn't heal up after Steel Wing, so we are able to knock it out on the next turn. Okay, for the 100th time, I forgot that in the Generation 3 remakes, Giovanni has 2 Rhyhorns instead of one of them being Rhydon. Seriously, why can't I remember that? Anyway, we are experiencing Deja Vu due to needing multiple Steel Wings to take out Rhyhorn while it's spamming Scary Face and attempts to get our speed worse than his. This time though, Giovanni doesn't heal up, so that's nice. Dugtrio is obviously faster than us, but its slash is absolutely pathetic, so we end this exchange with one fly. Nidoqueen is next, and we are playing it safe with Tri-Attack because I'm pretty sure the rest of our moves are all contact, which means we could run the risk of getting poisoned thanks to Nidoqueen's Poison Point ability if we use those moves. It's not a one shot, and Giovanni does break out another Hyper Potion, but we just spam Tri-Attack 2 more times for the knockout. All that is left is Nidoking, and this guy also has Poison Point, but this is the last opponent, so we just use Return to get the easy one shot, meaning we now have all the badges for the challenge. Still, we got the Elite Four of course, which means we have one more rival battle before we get there. I don't know if we have leveled up enough to stay competitive, but there's only one way to find out. Pidgeot does survive Tri-Attack, but goes down from the second one while we take a little damage from a Wing attack. Rhyhorn follows, and Steel Wing is still our move of choice when it comes to this exchange. We do take some damage from Takedown, but we wrap up this part of the battle in 2 turns. Execute continues to be a blip in this battle thanks to Fly. Alakazam is a similar story, but with Tri-Attack. Interesting that our rival kept Gyarados back this late in the battle, considering it could have weakened our attack early on and made things much more of a challenge for us. Not complaining though. Return might not have been a one shot, but Gyarados wasted its 1 turn by using Leer, meaning we are in a really good spot by the time we knock it out, and we only need to focus on Charizard. Return is still the plan here, and I'm so glad we healed up from leftovers as much as we did throughout this battle, because we still don't have a lot of wiggle room when it comes to getting hit by Flamethrower. Sure, we didn't take a lot of damage in this battle, but we still needed the insurance. Anyway, we survived with 40 health, allowing us to fight another turn, so one more return hands our rival another loss, and we get prepared for the Elite Four while traversing Victory Road. So let's talk about the obvious challenge we have when it comes to facing the Elite Four. Yes, it's Lorelei. It's always Lorelei. I just want one challenge where Lorelei isn't a pain. I want one challenge where she is not the contender for being on the thumbnail. Because, let's be honest, she's probably going to be on the thumbnail. Bruno is going to be a piece of cake at least, and I think Agatha will be easy for the most part. Lance is always a threat, and I think he's going to be tough to beat in this specific challenge. At least this Elite Four feels like it leans more towards physical attacks over special, because if it was the other way around, we would really need to rely on some one-shots. Our special defense is still a huge liability in this challenge, and if you don't fully believe me, here are our stats at level 70. Our attack is great, especially compared to our special stats. At least our defense is almost at 100. But still, the stat distribution really shows we're supposed to hit fast and hard physically when it comes to Doduo. There really isn't another strategy that feasibly works. So let's get going and see if level 70 is where we can get the job done. We start with Dugong like always, and I play it safe by using Return. Don't want the first Pokemon on Lorelei's team to already doom us. It falls into the red, and Lorelei actually plays it safe by setting up a Safeguard, followed by a full restore due to Dugong's low health. We follow that with a Tri-Attack, which looking back was not the smartest move since we don't have any power points for that move and we can't get a status condition to stick because of Safeguard. Still, Dugong is back to low health and we immediately get to attack again, so Dugong faints from Return. Slowbro is tanky and I'm still a little confused on the Tri-Attack use here, but this was late at night and I had a busy day earlier, so who knows what judgment I was using. That being said, Lorelei has Slowbro use Amnesia, so I think it's fair to say we're still making the better decisions here. Return finishes off Slowbro, and Jinx is not really a threat. Nice Return one-shot, and Lorelei throws out her ace, Lapras. Return does a great job. I wasn't expecting a one-shot. The fact that Lapras is still in the HP range where Lorelei most likely won't heal it means we can knock it out in the next turn. But Ice Beam is terrifying, and I almost thought we were going to lose right then and there. We're down to 6 health now, and that was from full health. Now I'm nervous, and I don't know what level we'll need to grind if we lose this, but for now we're still in it. Even with the berry heal up, Lapras is still in yellow. That means our next return is strong enough to knock Lapras out. Normally, taking Lapras out means we've won the battle, but Lorelei for whatever reason saves Cloyster for last. That's still terrifying since Cloyster has great physical defense and we can't really take a hit here. But remember how I said Lorelei isn't firing all cylinders with strategy for this battle? Well, first we take Cloyster to half health with Return. At first I figured we'd lose here since leftovers only healed us up to 24 health, but Lorelei decides to have Cloyster attack with Dive. So now Cloyster's underwater, and that's basically a no-brainer. We start with Fly. The turn order is perfect for us. Cloyster will come up to attack, but we'll be gone, and then we'll be the ones to land a hit. Cloyster does survive with a sliver of health, but immediately starts another dive, which means we just need one more Fly. Lorelei never learned her lesson, and we actually beat Lorelei on the first try. I honestly didn't see that coming, and I've been dreading this fight for the whole challenge. Clarence has done something a lot of other Pokemon we've had in these challenges that they just haven't been able to do. And statistically, Doduo should be horrible in this situation. Yet the flightless bird soared with flying colors. We've got a lot of wind in our sails now. I think this is going to be a really smooth Elite Four run since Lorelei was that easy to beat. I mean, Bruno shouldn't be a challenge, so let's get this battle over with. Onix is the biggest threat, but this is why we have Steel Wing. It still takes 2 of them to take down the first Onix, but look how well we handled its Rock Tomb. We're fine. Hitmonchan is next, and this starts the portion of the battle where we just one-shot all of Bruno's fighting Pokemon with Fly. One more Onix to go, but there isn't much to talk about in this exchange either. I'm surprised it's faster than us, and the double edges makes the battle interesting, but it just takes another 2 Steel Wings for us to get the easy win. Wow, the first half of the Elite Four had a couple of scary moments, but for the most part, it was really easy. Agatha doesn't have the strongest team, and I feel like she's going to be a little bit tougher than Bruno, but a win should still be possible. Let's go. we're in trouble again. We're not just getting our first Elite Four loss handed to us here against Agatha, we are suffering multiple losses. It's the group effort from her team that keeps giving us L's. Like I said, her team isn't the strongest, but we're not one-shotting them, and Agatha is doing an excellent job stalling us. Her use of Double Team, Confuse Ray, Toxic or Poison moves, and Hypnosis really drags the battle out. Basically, the longer the battle goes, the higher chance we lose, especially if we get poisoned, since our HP is low and leftovers can't keep up with the accruing damage. To add insult to injury, our moveset is halved for most of the battle because we have 2 normal moves. Well, we do have some rare candies, so maybe if we jump to level 75 we can see a win. At this level we are hitting harder. After those previous attempts we defaulted to opening with Steel Wing against the first Gengar. There's a good chance it will start with Double Team after that, which means Steel Wing won't be as reliable, but at least it dealt a lot of damage with the first hit. Case in point, I stuck with Steel Wing on the next turn, taking a risk, and I paid the price because it missed. Now Clarence is confused and we hit ourselves in the next few turns. Gengar isn't going on the offensive during all of this though. This has been a very tedious start to the battle, but by the time we actually land a Steel Wing, which is impressive since Gengar did like 4 double teams by then, Gengar goes down. By the time Golbat comes out, we snap out of confusion and we land a return for the one-shot. Arbok is annoying since it has Intimidate, and I know Return would hit harder, but it's not going to be a one-shot, so we switch to using Steel Wing to weaken Arbok first. By the time we attack with Return, it's strong enough to knock it out. We have to stay aware that our defense was lower due to Arbok's Screech, but for now we're still looking good. The second Gengar is faster and puts us to sleep before we can start Fly. We get hit by a nasty Sludge Bomb that takes us to half health, we wake up, then we take to the air with Fly. Our attack lands and takes Gengar to yellow, but its berry raises it back to the green. We fall asleep again to Hypnosis, but this time we wake up right after Gengar sets up a Nightmare, so we're good. We get another Fly in, but Gengar barely survives, which means it gets a full restore. Steel Wing does a good job chipping away at Gengar's health. We fall asleep for a 3rd time, but basically wake up on the turn. Our early bird ability is really coming in clutch here. We stick with Fly, but this one actually missed. At least Leftovers is healing us up, that's a silver lining. Then Hypnosis finally missed, so we get another Fly in. Again, Gengar is in the red, and that means another full restore from Agatha. We gotta take this guy out. It's getting monotonous talking about this battle because again, we attack with Steel Wing, get put to sleep, wake up after 1 turn. We're still trying to take Gengar out with Fly. Gengar's back in the red health again. But this time, Agatha doesn't heal, and Hypnosis misses, and we finally deal the finishing blow with Steel Wing. We still have Haunter left, but this thing is much weaker than Gengar, so we almost take it out with Fly. Yay, we're asleep again. Okay, actually Dream Eater is a little scary, hope we wake up soon. We sleep for another turn, but Agatha doesn't use Dream Eater on that turn. Instead she uses Mean Look. We only have 1 Pokemon in our party. Who do you think I'm going to switch to? It's Agatha's loss though, because right after that we wake up and land the last blow to finally put this battle away. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, that was like the 4th attempt against Agatha at level 75. Being at that level didn't make the battle extremely easy, just a bit more manageable. And if I'm going to keep being honest, I don't think Lance is going to be easy at this level either. But we're sticking with level 75 to see how things really look. The first attempt looks pretty good, but yes, I did just say first attempt. It sucks having our attack stat lowered right out of the gate thanks to Lance's Gyarados. Intimidate is wrecking us in this challenge. That being said, Return is still putting in the work, and we can handle Dragon Rage well enough to take down Gyarados in 2 turns. Aerodactyl is terrifying, due to it being faster than us and having HM power. Steel Wing matches it in damage, but if Aerodactyl hadn't missed its Hyper Beam on the next turn, that would have been a loss for sure. Instead, we land another Steel Wing and live to fight another day. Dragonair number 1 is out next, and Return is a critical hit one-shot. Same move almost knocks out Dragonair number 2. We take some damage from Dragon Rage, and Lance uses a full restore. Return brings Dragonair down again, Lance uses another full restore, and a couple of tri-attacks to finish it off. That leaves only Dragonite, but there's not much to see here. We basically go down to Outrage after hitting it with a Return. I didn't bother trying again at level 75. Instead, I used all the rare candies I had and jumped to level 79. But things got worse, mostly because of Aerodactyl. We got lucky getting past it at level 75. As I mentioned, it's faster than us, hits hard with H power, and we still can't one-shot it. I tried starting the battle with Tri-Attack to maybe land a status condition, but as you can guess, that rarely happens. When your strategy depends on hoping a status condition lands, you don't have a good grip on the battle. So we white out and go back to grinding. Now at level 86, we revisit Lance. REDyTay is still a problem on some attempts, but Gyarados remains easy to handle. And we almost take Gyarados down with a couple of flies, but Lance uses a full restore. Return helps us close the gap, and then one more fly knocks Gyarados out. We stick with Tri-Attack for REDyTay, and this time it pays off big. We're still slower, and we drop to about half health from H power, but our Tri-Attack lands as a critical hit and burns it. The tacked on burn damage is just enough to essentially one-shot REDyTay. Yes, that was lucky, but it's late, and we need to see if we can close this one out. I started Fly against the first Dragonair, hoping for some healing, but that was a bad idea since the outrage that hits us negates the healing and then some. So we finish it off with Return. The second Dragonair comes out, and we go straight to Return again. It's a one-shot. I hope we're not too beaten up for Dragonite. Leftovers gets us back to green, and Tri-Attack brings Dragonite's health to about the same as ours. Tri-Attack might be less useful now thanks to Safeguard, but it doesn't really matter. Our return on the next turn is just strong enough to knock out Dragonite. Clarence has now defeated the Elite Four. But we still have the last rival battle, and he has been giving us some issues lately. We are stronger now, and maybe that's all we need. Well, we're just going to cut to the chase here. We get all the way to Charizard, the last Pokemon for our rival's team, and it knocks us out with Fire Blast as soon as it comes out. Obviously, we're in the yellow when it attacks, so surviving that was a long shot anyway. The big takeaway here is that we can easily pinpoint what's causing our downfall in this battle. Can you guess? It's actually Rhydon. We beat him every time, he never once knocks us out, but each time we face him, he either uses Scary Face or Rock Tomb, which drops our speed, and that just absolutely wrecks us. Especially at level 88, where the rest of our rival's team is actually faster than us, including Exeggutor. From there, Alakazam sets up Reflect, and by the time Gyarados hits us with Intimidate, we are offensively stalled and taking hits left and right. We usually survive all that, but it forces us into a situation where we're dealing with a Charizard that's faster than us and is ready to fire off a Fire Blast, while our health is already low. At this point, I was not in the mood to grind. It's around 2 AM and sleep deprived me is just getting really stubborn. So instead, I decided to keep battling the Elite Four repeatedly to level up before facing the rival again. Basically, we get 2 extra levels for each run through Elite Four. At level 90, we face our rival again, and still no win. We push to level 92, still losing. At 94, we're closer, but losses keep happening. We even one-shot Rhydon sometimes, avoiding the speed drop, yet we still can't clinch the win. Then the game finally throws us a bone. Pidgeot hasn't been mentioned once during this part of the challenge because we always one-shot it with Return. It has never used a single move on us in this battle. Back to Rhydon. Steel Wing lands a critical hit one-shot, only the 3rd time in many attempts. Suddenly, this battle got a whole lot easier, but a win isn't guaranteed yet. Alakazam and Exeggutor can now both be one-shot with Return and Fly respectively. Gyarados still lowers our attack with Intimidate, but Return hits hard, and since Gyarados only uses Dragon Rage, we're still looking good. The rival's full restore is annoying, but we take Gyarados down with Return and Tri-Attack in a couple of turns. Thanks to the Rhydon one-shot, we're now faster than Charizard, and we get the first hit in with Return. Charizard retaliates with Fire Blast, leaving both Pokemon in red health. This battle, basically the entire challenge, comes down to who attacks first on the next turn. For once, we're faster, our Return lands, finally giving us the win. Honestly, that ending feels anticlimactic, probably because I'm not showing you all the losses against the last 3 opponents, those frustrating, infuriating defeats. We started Elite Four strong, but Agatha, Lance, and the rival just demolished us again and again. Most of those losses came down to stat drops on our best stats. If I'd to see the Intimidate animation one more time, I probably would have screamed. The speed drops were also very brutal. Doduo is a glass cannon. As long as we hit fast and hard, we're fine. But once opponents figured out how to stall us, everything fell apart. It was hard to gauge this challenge. We had a rough start, and by Fuchsia, I thought we'd be cruising, but Doduo is just too weak and has horrible type coverage, so we couldn't be as creative a strategy as we usually are. I do hope you like this challenge though. I'm currently wrapping up production on the last installment of our playthrough celebrating the 25th anniversary of Pokemon Yellow version's US release. If you want, check that out and share what that game means to you in the comments. It might take a little while until I upload another video after that. I'm trying to get some stuff done to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Generation 2 games, and I am behind schedule. My next solo challenge will be... well, you know what? I'm sick of seeing Intimidate used against me time and time again. I'm going to start using it myself. We're going to try to beat Pokemon Ruby with a Poochyena. Hey guys, future REDyTay here. I know I just said I'm going to do a Pokemon Ruby challenge with only Poochyena, but in the middle of editing this audio and making the video, I saw that Madrybra just did an Emerald challenge with Poochyena. I don't want to exactly copy him and follow up the challenge that closely. So instead, we're going to change things up and we're going to see if we can beat Pokemon Ruby with Sydney's team. That should be kind of interesting. Okay, back to the video. In the meantime, feel free to check out some of my other challenges, and don't forget to like, subscribe for updates, and leave comments about what you enjoyed and what challenges you want to see. And also any suggestions for improving these videos. I always appreciate creative input. Thanks for watching everyone, and until next time, Geronimo.